Quiet quitting has been the latest trend in the business world, and it's a growing practice. In this video, I'm going to explain what quiet quitting is and how many have already started doing this without even knowing it. Hello world, it's Rico, and today I want to talk about something that's been on a lot of people's minds lately: quiet quitting. What is it? Why are people doing it? A lot of people haven't heard about quiet quitting, but stay tuned and I'll explain everything. What is quiet quitting? In the hustle culture, work is always center stage. You have to be working and performing at 110% in order for you or your employer to feel that you're still alive and kicking. Does this sound familiar? What if there was a way of quitting without actually quitting, where instead of people just stop ascribing mentally to the idea that everything's gotta be about hustle, and you didn't have your career on your mind 24/7? What if you could still collect your paycheck, do enough to get by, but not have to go above and beyond and stress out? This is quiet quitting, and it's a growing phenomenon. First we had the Great Resignation, now we're in the time of quiet quitting. I'm bringing this up because many people are already doing this without even knowing it. People have been feeling the pains of the last 2.5 years in a global pandemic. They've been trying to balance work, life, and their mental health. The workforce has been burning out left and right, and to cope, they've simply prioritized their home life and their mental health over hustling at work. They've essentially quietly quit. But I'm here to reframe this a bit and to bring a slightly different perspective today. I actually don't think quiet quitting is a problem or a thing, and I'll tell you why. First, shouldn't this be what we're doing anyway? I'm going to say again what I said earlier to see if you caught it. The workforce has been burning out left and right, and to cope, they've simply prioritized their home life and their mental health over hustling at work. Shouldn't we always prioritize our mental health and home life? If we can't keep our mental health and home life in check, then what does it all matter? And I realize I may be speaking from a place of privilege, so let me just say that out loud. But any employer or business should understand that when people have clear minds and a happy home life, they're much more productive at the workplace. And if people don't have a healthy balance, I can promise you that that will show up in their work. If you're an entrepreneur, leader, or executive out there, think about why someone might have to quiet quit. Are you providing the right environment for them to be successful? Do you care? If you're seeing this happen to you, you might want to look inward versus blaming your employees for not having a sense of urgency. Second, not everyone prioritizes work first and wants to move up in their careers. Now, don't get me wrong on this one. People want to be challenged, grow, be successful. It's just that some prioritize that over everything else. And I don't have any issues with that. The thing that most employers should recognize, though, is that those folks are not the norm either. There are portions of our population that really like what they do, they like where they are, and they're great at their job. Are we artificially punishing those folks because everyone likes to compare them to Sam, who works 50 to 60 hours a week and loves their job but has no desire for a family? And Pat, who has a family, spends 60 hours a week hustling? Are we saying that they deserve less time with their families or to sleep because Sam over there is also working 60 hours? Think about this. There are only 168 hours in 1 week. We spend 60 of those hours sleeping. If we spent 60 of those hours at work, we'd only get 48 hours for everything else we want to do. Think about that. Out of 168 hours, the least amount is spent with family and friends. And the most is either working, maybe sleeping. As leaders, we need to recognize that quality work can come in many shapes and forms, and that you can't compare employees to each other. If you do that, you're asking employees to choose what is most important to them. And let me tell you this, don't be offended when it isn't your company. If I was asked to choose, I'd choose my family every single time, twice on Sundays. The third is we're using outdated and antiquated standards. We've been essentially working a 5 to 6 day work week with 40 to 50 hours required since 1920. Roosevelt signed the Fair Labor Act in 1938 that made our work week officially 5 days and 40 hours. Can you imagine what life was like back then? Assembly lines and blue collar work? With all of the technology and resources we have now, why are we still held to Depression era standards? We're not in a world war. A study by British think tank New Economics Foundation found that if we cut our work week to 21 hours, we could address problems like overwork, unemployment, overconsumption, high carbon emissions, low well-being, systemic inequalities, and the lack of time to simply just enjoy life. Seems like a dream, doesn't it? Many in the workforce are learning to work smarter and can actually accomplish what used to take 40 hours or more in half or 2/3 the time. 21-hour work week, anyone? What we're doing by actually requiring the 40-hour work week is potentially penalizing those that work more effectively and efficiently. If someone can get the job done in 25 hours, you pay them for 40, right? And if someone who isn't good takes 50 hours to get the exact same job done, are you okay paying them 40 plus 10 hours of overtime? We're actually telling people to be less efficient with their time because the longer you work, the better. We don't reward the efficient worker simply because we expect them to work at least 40 hours a week. So you can see by these 3 points that quiet quitting isn't the issue. It's employers and leaders not recognizing how people want to prioritize their lives. We're using outdated work schedules and people are simply choosing to prioritize themselves and their families over work. Is that something we should really be scrutinizing? Maybe if employees felt like they could have these conversations openly with their managers, this wouldn't be an issue. Quiet quitting is definitely not an employee problem. It's an employee solution to a leadership problem. If you want to learn how to address some of these issues, I have a video on how to be a more empathetic leader, which you can check out here. I'll show you how to build emotional intelligence, lead with empathy, and still get the most out of your team. And that's it for today, guys. I will see you next time.